Om. 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 Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah. Hari Om. Okay. So, Bhaja Govindam, last week we were seeing the verse number 27. So we had not finished the 27. So we'll continue today with the 27 and go to 28 also. So here we were seeing that Acharya Sumati gave 4 spiritual sadhanas. And these are known as the Bahiranga sadhanas, that is outward practices. And Antaranga sadhana, the internal sadhanas that we will be seeing in the verse number 30. Adi Shankaracharya is going to give that one. So in this verse on the 27th, we saw the first pada, Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram. So the Bhagavad Gita and also Sahasra Namas should be chanted here. Today I heard from one Swamiji, he said, Goddess gives gives with total satisfaction when you do the seva of stotra parayana. So that is why he said it in the Sahasranamas, it is said Stuti Priyaya Namaha. That is one who is pleased with the stutis. So to repeat his name, Bhagwan's name, is to be in his presence only. And Guruji also about Bhagavad Gita, he has written a 2-line shloka. And he says, Gita pate artha jignasa tato gnanam bhavati. Krutartha hi gnanena tasmat gitam pate naraha. So he says that, from Gita pate, from chanting the Gita, artha jignasa, you get interested to know what it means. And you feel you want to study the Bhagavad Gita. So what happens with that study, you gain gnanam bhavati. You get the knowledge. And with that knowledge, you become krutartha. That is, you become blessed. So, tasmat Gitam pate naraha. So, therefore, one should chant the Bhagavad Gita. So, this is for the, the Geyam Gita. So, Gita is very important. And Swami Vinayakanandaji, I don't know if you remember him, he came to Chinmay Niketan and he gave a lecture during Bal Vihar time. So it was very nice. So he says, God realization requires intense efforts, but prayer makes long-term disciplines short and makes it, the fulfillment becomes easy. So prayer is very important. So then we saw in the second pada, in the 27th verse, Dhyayam Shripati Rupam Ajasram. Ajasram means always. So Dhyayam, meditate on the form of the Bhagavan, that is Lord of Lakshmi, always. So one commentator says, Dhyayam is a symbolic attitude of surrender. Surrender conveys you that, that you are grateful for what he has provided. And when you have surrendered, what happens? Our ego gets destroyed. And and we get the faith that Bhagavan is going to take care of us when you surrender. So that is why in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So when he says, I'm going to take care of you, and when you realize God is taking care, then why you have to worry at all? Then what happens? Whatever the actions you are doing, there is a kind of melody in your actions. And there is a divinity in your work also, because you are not worried anymore about your life, how to take care of it. Bhagavan, it is in the Bhagavan's hands. So when there is no ego, world takes care of you. For example, a baby. Baby cries. The baby doesn't have any ego. And as soon as the baby starts crying, all the family members run to the baby. And they want to see how they can help the baby. Okay, so when you don't have ego, the world will take care of you. So surrender purifies the mind. Then in the third paja, we saw Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam. So lead your mind towards the company of Sajjana, company of good people. So actually satsang is the first step in our spiritual path here. So we have to choose the good company at all levels of our personality. That means what sight we see, what sounds we hear, what emotions we entertain, what thoughts we entertain, what food we eat, and including what kind of clothes we wear also. All of that should be geared towards the higher for our betterment here. This natural tendency of the mind is to gravitate lower. So consciously, we have to create an environment of satsang. So satsang is not a natural process for the mind, but dussanga is very natural. So consciously, we have to withdraw the mind from the lower, which is actually entertaining, because we enjoy the world, gossip and talk about this and all these things. We knowingly or unknowingly, we still enjoy those things. So from that, you have to remove that mind and lead that mind to seek the company of the higher, that is for our own transformation here. Swami Sarvapriyanandaji, he gives the example of an elephant and the elephant trainer, Mahut. And elephant is actually our mind. And elephant would rather go and destroy, in India, you see that in the sugarcane fields or the banana plantation. But the Mahut, it is the intellect. And when Mahut directs the elephant, in whichever the path he wants the elephant to go, then, the elephant follows the orders of the Mahout. But sometimes even that elephant trainer, he cannot control the elephant at all. So what it means is, even though we know we should listen to our intellect, because intellect knows what is the right thing. Mind is fickle mind. And intellect wants to lead the mind in the proper direction. But still, there are times when mind is very strong. And the intellect keeps quiet. So the mind becomes very, very stubborn. But we hope that we are all in satsang, and we hope our mind has not become so stubborn that it doesn't want to listen to the intellect now. Okay. So mind extrovert, that is dussanga. Mind introverted is the satsanga here. And what does dussanga does? Dussanga, the mind in dussanga, it starts finding faults in others. Even though we may have the same faults in us, but we don't see them at all. That is dussanga. Let's not keep talking about dussanga. Let us just think about the satsanga only here. So it says satsangaha sarvada karyaha. So you should always have satsang outside and inside also. So satsanga makes you get attached to the higher and get detached from the lower. The two words that Gurudev always used to use, detach and attach. So that is, we have to do. So here we saw, using the faculty of speech, I recite Bhagavad Gita and the name of the Lord. And in my mind, I meditate upon the form of the Lord. And with my intellect, I seek satsanga and enjoy the company of good people. Then what should I do with my hands? With hands, you give charity. So this is the portion, the last pada of the shloka that we are to see today. So that is Deyam Deenaja Nayacha Vittam. Deena Janayacha Vittam. So Deyam, give. It means Deyam is giving, charity. Or it also means to return. Also it means. So give your wealth to the Deena Jana, that is needy people. But one might ask, what is the wealth? So what wealth is, whatever you have. That is your wealth. You give that wealth here. Whatever you possess, okay, it doesn't need to be necessarily money. You can give whatever you possess. So it could be the physical strength, intellectual knowledge, or spiritual knowledge. And one may not have any of these things, but that person might have a lot of time on his hand. So whatever you have, you share. We also say time is money, right? So you share the time. There are lots of people who like a little bit of company. They don't have anybody to talk to. You might have heard in some of the Balvihar children were taken to these old age homes. There they entertained them. And they was just so happy to see the children, so happily running, dancing, singing. And that made those old people get back their little bit of youth also at that time. Same way we say, even the dogs do help, right? Anyway, so if you have the time, use the time properly. Sometimes, there are people like a cancer patients, they don't have transportation for their doctor's appointments and all that. So you can do that too. You take them because you have time. So it is very important to see what we have, we can give. When it says Deyam Dina Janaya cha Vittam, Vittam does not stand only for the wealth here. So you can see it's not that we have to do great things to become good people, but even the little things go a long way if they are done in the spirit of charity, spirit of giving, spirit of service. Spirit of service, what does it remind you? The squirrel that help in building the Setu, Rama Setu, the bridge. So anything, but when you have that spirit of giving, you can think, you will come up with something that you can do also. So giving money is just one of the things, that's all it is. So Swamiji says, be charitable with your wealth of good words, your wealth of thoughts, and wealth of kind words also. So don't think it is just the money is that you can give in charity. So deyam, give, serve, okay, the people also. Even sometimes, just consoling words, like Manu went to see that couple, see that husband, even those consoling words is a service. Or give water to a thirsty person, a thirsty animal, or encourage a person to do noble deeds. All these are also service only. Giving a smile is a service. One time, a brahmachari said to Gurudev, Gurudev, you have given us such knowledge, so much, everything free. And what is it that we can give you back? Gurudev said, whenever you see me, give me a smile. And that's enough. So, so the giving, we don't have to worry about, I don't have anything to give. You have. You are a wealthy person, but you don't know it. Just think and see where you have the wealth and share that wealth. That is very important. And it is said, whatever you give, it comes back to you in plenty. And you will never fall short of that thing. Just think of love. When you smile at a person, that person smiles back. When you smile at a person, nobody frowns. So it comes back to you in double dose. And there are also special days, they say that, whatever you give, it comes to you in multifold. Just like a Teras or the Akshay Tritiya, or even on eclipse days, they do a lot of charity also. Now, why the human beings have to give? I'm going to tell you a Puranic story here. One time, all the three descendants of Brahmaji, that is Devatas, the Asuras, and the human beings, all of them were students of Brahmaji. And the Devatas went together to Brahmaji and they said, Sir, please teach us. So Brahmaji said, Da. And he said, did you understand? So Devatas thought for a minute, for some time, and they said, Da. What does it mean? Oh, that means Dhamma, control of the senses. Because Devatas are known for enjoying everything. So they said, yes, we understood. Da stands for Dhamma. Brahmaji said, yes, you have understood rightly, and you go and practice. Then the Asuras, they came to Brahmaji and said, Sir, please teach us. So Brahmaji said, Da. Did you understand? And the Rakshasas thought for some time and they said, Da, what does it mean? That means, Daya, because we are merciless. So Brahmaji is teaching us to be more, have some mercy, Daya. So when they said that, Brahmaji was very happy and he said, yes, you have understood, you can go. Then the human beings, they came to Brahmaji and they said, sir, please teach us. Same thing. Brahmaji also said, Da. And did you understand? Human beings thought, what is it that we need to do with Da? Then they said, Dana. We have to share among our own people, among our race. Dana. Brahmaji was very happy. So he said, yes, you have understood properly. Go and practice. That is dana. So why we human beings need to give? We promised Brahmaji. We learned from Brahmaji that giving is it should become our nature. So human beings are supposed to be danis. They are supposed to be the givers to everyone, in this society. Help people, serve people, give people. Okay, so it is said the more we are able to reduce the burden of wealth, to that extent you discover joy. Think about it. The more we have, the more we have agitations. The more we want to see how we can keep it, security, everything. But if you reduce them to that extent, you will discover joy. There is the story of Ranti Deva. Guruji shared this story when it comes to Deyam, giving. This Ranti Deva was a king and he was a great Vishnu Bhakta. And he loved his people and he never was greedy for the wealth. And he showered all his wealth on his people. And his thing was to spread love, and he would give and tell Bhagavan, please bless them. And this king was loved by people, of course, when you have a king like that. But over the time, there was a time when there were lots of thunderstorms and it killed all the crops and there was no food in the kingdom. Rantideva distributed everything that he had with the people so that they can go and buy the food. But as the days passed by, then there was severe drought also. So now there was no food and no water also. But Rantideva never gave up his bhakti on Lord Vishnu. He did his best. Whatever the food he was able to get from outside, he was sharing with everybody. But there came a time he didn't have anything to share. And it just so happened, one day, a stranger brought some food to Rantideva, some food and water. You remember there was drought also. And Rantideva was very happy because he and his whole family had not eaten for days. They had become very weak also. So they all sat down to eat. At that time, one poor Brahmin came looking for food. So they gave some of that food to that Brahmin. Then came another beggar with 4 dogs. And he said, my dogs are dying. I'm also dying out of hunger. Please give me whatever you have. So the king shared with the food with the dogs and the human being also, that poor man. And Man was very happy and he blessed and he left. Then there was very little, maybe one roti was left. They said, let us eat, the whole family, just one bite. But that time a Chandala came. No, not the Chandala did not come at that time. And even that roti was taken away by another hungry person. Then they were left with only water. That's the time the Chandala came. And he was, so thirsty, his throat was parched. And he couldn't even say anything. And he asked for, please give me some water. Rantideva gave away that water also. It was nothing for him. Not only for him, for his whole family also. But none of them complied. At that time, that Chandala actually was Bhagavan, Vishnu, who had come in that form. And he told Rantideva, I'm very, very happy to see how generous you are. And you ask for a boon. And what is the boon that he asked? He says, bless me that I can help all my people for all the time. He didn't ask for anything. Guruji said, Rantideva, when he was offered a chariot to go to heaven, he said that I would rather stay in the hearts of the poor people so that I can console them. I can give them some happiness. That is Rantideva. That is Deyam. That is charity. See, sacrifice is actually the key happiness for and satisfaction. When you give with love, when you sacrifice, actually that brings you satisfaction and happiness. And one who sacrifices, actually he gets more also. But one thing that we should remember when we are giving, we should never have the feeling, I am giving this. The hand that receives actually is blessing you. Therefore, be grateful that there is a receiver also. Rockefeller, he met Swami Vivekananda ji, and Swamiji told Rockefeller that all the wealth that you have accumulated so far, it is Lord's wealth, Bhagavan's wealth. It's not your wealth. And you are just a trustee. You should share that with the world. Rockefeller did not like that one. But something must have, made him think about it. So one day he came with a check with a big amount written on that one. And he went looking for Swami Vivekananda ji in the house, and Swamiji was reading a book. So Rockefeller just threw the check on the table and he said, okay, here I have a big donation for a good cause. Swamiji didn't even look at him. He just continued to read. Then Rockefeller said, you should thank me for the donation I have made. Then Vivekananda ji, he raised his head, looked at him eye to eye, and he said, it is for you to thank me for taking this donation. So everything belongs to God only. We are just using it and we are just trustees at all. So when we dedicate everything to the Lord, and that means we are actually acknowledging that great Bhagavan, that great truth. That's why it says, Twadiyam vastu Govinda tubhyameva samarpaye. Tubhyameva samarpaye. I give everything back to you, Govinda. Why? Twadiyam vastu. Everything belongs to you only. Actually, I'm giving it back. whatever you have given. There is nothing that is mine here. When we chant this Om Jai Jagadisha Hare, in the end we say, Tera tujko arpan kya lage mera. Everything is yours only. I'm offering it to you. What is yours? It is like saying, doing like you do the Ganga Puja with Ganga water. So it is Bhagavan's, everything is Bhagavan's only. There was this Rahim, who was a very, very rich person, and he would do charity every day after his prayers. And when he used to do the charity, he always used to keep his head down. He never looked at the person who was receiving that charity. So when he was asked, why do you do this one? He said, I'm not the giver. It is the Bhagavan who is the giver. But people say, I am the giver, and they praise me, and I'm very much embarrassed. So I don't have the strength to look into the eyes of the receiver. So that is the way, when you give, you should remember, it is not that we are giving of ours, but actually we are giving what belongs to God, and we are giving it to other people who are representatives of God only. When, my favorite statement is, Dane dane pe likha hai khane wala ka naam. But one person, during Vedanta course, this person, she added one more sentence to that one. And she said, paise paise pe likha hai paane wale ka naam. So it is actually, it's not ours. That name is written on that money to whoever it is supposed to go. But we think we are giving. That is our mudha, foolishness, that's all. So in the beginning, I said, deyam also means to return. So whatever the wealth we have, that we are so proud of, that one is not earned just by ourselves. The whole society is behind it. So it is our duty to return to the society. When we eat, we always chant, Brahmarpanam Brahmaharir, right? And then, I always feel that, we have to thank not only this Brahma and all that, but we have to thank starting from Bhudevi and all the worms, the earthworms, everything that is there, and the farmers, and the people, who harvest, and the people who pack and send it to the grocery stores, and the grocery in the stores, the people who have grocery stores to sell those things. So starting from the beginning, the food that is on the table, how many hands have worked for that one. And we have to thank every one of them for the food that we eat also. Even though dane dane pelika hai khane wala kana. Even though my name is written on that, but how did it come there? So this is real giving there. So here, when I say that return, so our Shastra says, there are rinas, that debts that we have to pay. And there are 5 debts that our Shastra says that we should repay. So every human being is born with these debts. So it is not a burden, okay, to paying of these debts, but recognizing, and that Bhagavan has given, and that with gratitude that we have to give it back. And what are those 5 rinas? Most of us know about this, so I'll just mention the name and just a couple of sentences, that's all. The first one is Deva Rina. That is the the debt we owe to devatas. Can you imagine living without air, without water, without sunlight? We cannot. So we consider them as the devatas. Vayu Devata, Varuna Devata, Surya Devata. So paying debt implies that we have to take care of the nature. Second one is Pitruruna, debt that we owe to ancestors. Pitruruna can be paid back by living the good traditions and the customs established by our ancestors, and also having children to continue the lineage. The third is Rishi Rina, debt owed to the past and the present rishis. See, we have been enriched by their knowledge. By Guru Parampara, we have been getting this spiritual knowledge. But those rishis of the past, how they have kept these shastras safe for us. Now we have all the copying machines, but they did not have any copying machines long time ago. How did they keep it safe? I was told, they used to handwrite those Vedas, all these Shastras, once so many years. So that is why Adi Shankaracharya, when he established the 4 matas, 4 Vedas were given out to them, so that they can keep for the next generations. So we need to be grateful for the rishis. How you can pay the debt off to the rishis? By paying back to help them keep these granthas. Guruji says you can pay for the printing of the Upanishads, the Vedas, so that it will stay. Or you can pay to the Gurukulas, where they continue to teach these Shastras. So that is Rishi Runa. And the fourth one is Manushya Runa or Nra Rina here. So this is what we talked about. Dina Janayaja Vittam. So I'm not going to go into detail about it. And the last one is Bhuta Rina. That is debt owed to Bhutas, like the animals and the plants and everything. So you can help in the Gorakshana, or you help not to cut the forests. So that is also Bhuta Rina here. So here Lord Krishna has compared those who enjoy the gifts of nature without contributing anything in return. He calls him as a stena, a thief. So whatever we have received, we have to give it back to the society. So in the 3rd chapter, the 12th verse, it says, Taidatana pradeyebhyaha yo bhunkte stena evasaha. Those who enjoy what is given to them without making offerings in return are verily thieves. Actually, no one can pay back the debts of gods, the sages, and the ancestors, or the benefactor, 100%. Still, that concept of Rina is very important in our life. And so this makes us be responsible for the nature, for the animals, for the human beings, and we try to do our best in contributing that also. So in summary, charity can be made from physical, emotional, intellectual standpoints, and even by the spiritual standpoint, you can give. It's not only the knowledge that you have gained and you want to share, it is also prayers. You can pray for other people. That is also giving. So we have to understand this charity in a very broad way. Then only we will know what charity is. And when he says needy people or poor people, see, many times what happens is, in the name of giving, many people just want to dispose of their unwanted things. That's all it is. But that is not there. That is not charity. It is not spring cleaning or garage sale. There has to be that bhavana in giving. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, first thing he says is, Yagna dana tapa karma na tyajam karyameva tat yagno dana tapaschaiva pavanani manishina. So yagna, dana and tapa, these actions, karma, it should never be given up. So dana is one of the things. Why it should not be given up? But when you do these things, it actually purifies the heart of even the manishinans, even the wise people also here. And then Lord Krishna talks about 3 kinds of dhanams in the 17th chapter, verses 20, 21, and 22. I'm not going to go into detail, chant the verses and all that, but I'm just going to say what is Satvik Dhanam. And Satvik Dhanam is, Lord Krishna says, that gift which is given out of duty at the proper time and place to a worthy person and without expectation of any return, that is considered as Satvik Dhanam. And what is Rajasic Dhanam? Charity that is given with reluctance, with hope to receive something back. Okay, that is called Rajasic Dhanam. And what is Tamasic Dhanam? That is the charity given to wrong people, unworthy people, at a wrong place and at a wrong time, and given with contempt. Okay, so that is known as Tamasic Dhanam here. So here we have to see charity to the poor is sometimes, we give it out of compassion. But if the poor man is not the worthy person to receive, then there is no spiritual advancement for us. In other words, indiscriminate charity is not recommended at all. So you have to know the right person to whom you need to give. So here the fundamental principles of giving is, you must find out what the worthy recipient needs. It is not what you can or what you have. Charity should end in positive transformation of the recipient. The service you give is judged by the result that is produced. So charity is not a simple thing. You can go on and on and on. Okay. Anyway, so why should we give? Why we human beings has to give? I already told you the story of Da. And also, see, in this world, there are only 2 kinds of people: givers and takers. If you don't give, you become the taker. So it is more difficult to be a taker than a giver. So live a life of giver, not taker. And look at the nature. It is always giving and giving and giving. Learn from the nature. One thing that you have to remember is, but never give to feel good. And also, sometimes we might be the receiver also in our life. So receive it with gratitude. You receive gracefully also. So this is Deyam Dina Janayacha Vittam. Gurudev writes, charity must flow from one's own abundance. When does a cup overflow? Only when it is full. I had shared with you what Guruji said. Charity doesn't mean that you give up everything and you have to beg from your children to live. You should keep enough for your dignity to live dignified. Then when your cup is full, okay, share it with people. So keep track of what is needed. What is needed, that you don't give it. But what is extra, more than that need, that you give it away. And the last point is here, to ignore the needs of others around is not religion. So, Geyam Gita Namasasram, Deyam Shripati Rupamajasram, Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam, Deyam Dina Janayaja Vittam. So, this verse is telling us our speech, our mind, our intellect, and our actions. All of this has to be focused upon attaining that Bhagavan. And that is our ultimate goal. One Swamiji, said very beautifully, see, in the previous verse we saw, Kamam, Krodam, Lobam, Moham, Tyaktva, Manam, Pashyati Soham, right? So he said, actually, how to give up this Kama, Krodha, Lobha, and Moha. That is given in this verse. That's what he said. And it was very interesting the way he explained also. He said, Kama, that is the first word, right? Desire. So you give up desire. When can you give up your desire? Only when your heart is filled with Bhagavan. And that is Geya. Chant Bhagavad Gita. Chant Sahasranamas. The second one is Krodha, anger. How can you get rid of the anger? By Dhyayam, meditation. And he very laughingly, he said, when you meditate on Lord Narasimha, in his presence, your anger will go away. Actually, today is Narasimha Jayanti also. It is being done in the Hindu temple of Atlanta. And the next one is Lobham, the greed. How can you get rid of the Lobham? Neyam. With the association of good people. When we observe Mahatmas, we see they have almost nothing. Look at Tapovan Maharaj. He had 2 pairs of extra clothes and that water kamandalu. That's all he owned in all his life. And when you see that kind of people, even without owning anything, how cheerful they are, how happy they are. Then I wonder, I have everything and I'm still miserable. So then the greed goes away. Then you realize wealth is not the one that gives you happiness. Okay. And you don't worry about hoarding the wealth at that time. Lobham. So the greed goes away. The last one is moha, delusion. How you can get rid of it? By deyam, by charity. So sadhana is not just doing for a few minutes of the day, but it is a continuous process. So we have to keep thinking about it. Guruji always says, this is such a beautiful shloka. You should not be satisfied with what you have read, what you have heard, but you should go on contemplating how to sing the name of the Lord continuously, how to meditate on Lord continuously, how to keep the mind in satsang continuously, and how to help the society continuously. This is the whole truth of this, the essence of this verse in this here. So how do you start all these things? By Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. So you start with remembering that Bhagavan. So this is verse number 27. I took almost 2 classes to explain this one, but somehow I felt it is such a beautiful verse. I should not, be miser in sharing the points about this verse. Okay, so please excuse me if I took a lot of your time. So now let us go to verse number 28. So with the 27th verse, we have completed the Dwadasha Manjarika Stotram, the 12 verses given by Adi Shankaracharya, and also Chaturdasha Manjarika Stotram, the 14 verses that was attributed to the 14 disciples of Adi Shankaracharya, that is 12 plus 14, 26, and first verse, it is a refrain. So we have finished all of that with the 27th verse here. So the next 4 verses were given out by Adi Shankaracharya himself as a blessing to us. So here, whatever we have studied so far, we need to reflect on that one. We need to do the nididhyasana, need to do the mananam, and bring those teachings in our life. Make it practical use of that. Practice those things. It's very, very important. And one commentator said a story he narrated. He said there was a great guitar player, and he used to, stand in front of the malls or in a park, and he would play his guitar. And he was so good. People just loved it. They would just crowd around him to listen to that. And he was so good. Even the birds and the animals would dance for that music. He was that good. But he was never proud of that. He just enjoyed playing that. And there was a zookeeper who was also in the audience. So he decided that, he wants to test him. And so he said that he challenged that guitarist. And guitarist didn't wanted to take the challenge, and he was not trying to show off his music ability and all that. He was just playing for his own mind, and it made him very happy. But he said, okay, I will take that challenge. So the zookeeper took him to the zoo. And many people also went there to see what happens. And so the guitarist, he started playing. And all the birds, the peacocks, and all the deers, and all these animals, they enjoyed the music so much, they started dancing. Then the zookeeper let loose one lion. And the lion roared and came running towards the guitarist. But as it came close, it became calm. It sat down, listening to the music. Then the second lion, the zookeeper, let it, from the cage. The second lion also, as it started roaring. But as it came near the guitarist, it started dancing. Now the zookeeper let loose the third lion. And this lion roared in the beginning. Then it looked at all the people and it started looking at the zookeeper, and it looked like that lion was little confused. It did not show any happiness or any anger or any the fierceness or anything like that. And the zookeeper just took the lion back to the cage. And the guitarist did not say anything. He did not feel like he lost the challenge or anything. He just left from there. But the people who were there, they were curious about the third lion. So they went to the zookeeper and they wanted an answer to that one. And the zookeeper said he wanted to prove the guitar is strong. So he let loose the third lion, which was deaf. Then where is the question of dancing? So what is the lesson that we learn from this story? Adi Shankaracharya is the guitarist. And he has shown how to live this life, how to lead our life towards Bhagavan. And we should not be like that deaf lion. Deaf ear towards Bhagavan's teachings. If we are open to the music, we will also be able to enjoy and dance. So change the direction of our life, change it towards moksha. So this is the story he said, and I was very, very, overcome with that when he said that story, and it's how we have such a deaf ear. We hear so much. It's not like that we have not studied some scriptures. It's not like we have not heard to the Upanishads. It's not like we don't know Bhagavad Gita, but how much have we put it in our life? So that is very important. I can continue, but there is only 2 more minutes. So I will stop here. So we will see the verse number 28 in our next class. So next Monday is a Memorial Day weekend, but Tuesday is not a Memorial Day weekend. So we will still continue the class on next Tuesday. Okay? Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om, everyone. Hari Om.
Thank you, Geeta
Hari
ji.
Om,
Thank
Geeta
you.
ji.
Thank you.
Geeta,
Thank
I love that
Hari
story
Om,
of the
Hari Om.
lion.
What, sorry, Rohini?
I love the story of the lions.